Talk about some applications for this. Now, depreciation. What is depreciation? Depreciation. That is the amount that a price goes down over a period of time. And how is that related to what we're doing? Well, depreciation, the formula for that looks just like our slope intercept form. All right. Now, in depreciation, the B or the y-intercept is the initial value. All right. How much did it cost? M is the rate of all right, its official definition is the rate of change. But we'll look at it as the rate of depreciation. All right. How much will it change over time? And where Y is the value. All right. It's the value. And forgot one. X is the time. All right. It's the time. So if I say something would depreciate over the next 12 years, X would be where 12 goes. All right. Well, your 12 would be where the X is, because that's the amount of time we're looking at. All right. Let's try it out. A new car worth $21,000 is depreciating by $3,000 per year. All right. Now, let's break down this equation. I'm not going to make you figure this part out. I'm going to give it to you. The equation for this would be what's the new? So that's the car. This is the C is the car. Well, I'll say this. We'll use C. All right, that's the car. That's the value. All right, here's the value. And depreciation is always negative because it goes down. So negative 3,000. Then N is the number of years. And 21,000 is the initial value. This is the equation I'll give you. All right. We're going to answer some questions. First off, we're going to find the value of the car after 3 years. All right. So we'll do this. Value of car after 3 years. All right. Let's do it. Our equation, because we don't know the value. Remember, C is the value. That's how much the car is worth after all this. All right. So we don't know what that is. So we'll leave C in the problem. Negative 3,000 is how much it's going to go down per year. Now, how many years? 3. Remember, N, whatever's right there beside the depreciation value, that's the time. So N is 3. So after 3 years. And then plus 21,000. All right, let's put all that in the calculator. Well, not all of it. Negative 3,000 times 3 is negative $9,000. Put in the calculator, make sure. Plus 21,000. All right, so 21,000. Well, negative 9,000 plus 21,000. So what we end up with is C is equal to 9 and 21 is 12,000. All right. So a new car that's worth $21,000, it depreciates at $3,000 per year. The cost after 3 years is $12,000. It's crazy, huh? All right. How many years will the car be worth half of its initial value? All right. How many years would the car be worth half of its initial value? All right. Let's write that down. How many years would it take for the car to be worth half of its initial value? All right. So this time, same equation. How long would it take? So this time we didn't know years. All right. But we want our value. We want to know how long would it take for its value to be half of 21,000. So we know what the value is now. We know what C is now. What's the value? What's half of 21,000? Half of 21 is 10.5. So instead of saying, I'll write it here. I'll write it here. C is equal to negative 3,000 times the time plus 21,000. All right. So we said half of 21,000 is 10,500. Equal sign. We still have negative 3,000 n plus 21,000. All right. We want to know how long that'll take. So our goal now is to get n by itself. All right. So you do the same thing we've learned. To get n by itself, you must first get negative 3,000 n by itself. So who's over there with it? 21,000. All right. I almost said 21 Savage. Now, so you subtract 21,000 from both sides because you move a constant term, same way you always did. 21,000. And we get negative 9,000 Oh, we don't. We just said it was half. So we get negative 10,500. All right. Then we bring down the equal sign, bring down the negative 3,000 in, and we divide both sides by that coefficient, that negative 3,000. So we divide both sides by that negative 3,000. But divide both sides by negative 3,000. We get 3.5, and the negative and negative cancel out. So 3.5, the negative 3,000 cancel over here. So it'll take 3.5 years. All right. All right. And we'll answer the question we finished, but this is the work we have to do for it. All right. Then it says, graph the equation. All right. When it comes to graphing, all right, because the last part of this will be graph the equation. All right. You say, what equation? You know, the one that says C is equal to negative 3,000 N plus 21,000. All right. If you need to, use the variables that we know, y plus mx plus b, y equals mx plus b. So what you have is C was our y, equal sign, negative 3,000 is an equation. X was our number of years, times x a lot of times, plus 21,000. All right. See? That makes you feel comfortable. You can plug that in. All right. So we're going to draw an H chart around that. That's fine. And maybe we have, that's C, but we have X on this side. X is always to the left, and Y. So X is your input, Y is your output. Now, let's talk about the values we're going to use for our X. Now, in the context of this problem, we're talking about time of years for depreciation. So remember I told you positive, 0, and negative? Well, not for this. So we're going to use the positive, let's say, any three values. 1, and then we'll use 0. But you can't use a negative for years. All right? You can't use, there's no negative time. Your car does not depreciate before you bought it. All right? That's what negative would be, before you purchased the car. We're talking about after you bought it. So we'll use something small. Let's just use 2. All right? 3 values, any 3 values. But when you're talking about depreciation, stuff like that, think about the problem. Don't use a negative number. All right? Let's plug it in, and we're going to try to work it out right here in the space that we have. All right? So let's do it. So for the first problem, we have y is equal to negative 3,000. And then we're going to use 1 the first year after purchasing the car. And negative 3 times 1 is still negative 3,000 plus 21,000. Bring down that y. And 3 and 21, you have to subtract because 1 is negative, 1 is positive, and you get 18,000. All right. Now, let's do the next equation. It says y times negative 3,000, and you hadn't had it a year yet, plus 21,000, and y equals negative 3,000 times 0 is still 0, plus 21,000. And if you hadn't had it a year yet, it should still be worth, according to our formula, the same amount. Then last, y is equal to negative 3,000 times 2 plus 21,000. All right. Negative 3,000 times 2 is negative 6,000 plus 21,000. And we end up, we can't always put that y down. We can't add those because 1 is negative, 1 is positive, of course. And we get 15,000. All right. Now, somebody said, look now, how are we supposed to graph all this? Don't worry. I got you. Use the same principle as last time. All right. So you have your graph. And because we're dealing with all positive numbers, what quadrant is all positive, both positive coordinates. That's right, quadrant 1. So that's all we need. Now, as far as our x, we only need to go, 2 past 0. So we'll just do one more than that. But our y has thousands. So remember, you can put your x in different increments from your y. So while we're counting by ones for your x-axis, for our y's, we can count by thousands. Matter of fact, I would feel better if we count by 5,000s, right? So that only give us, at the most, 5 tick marks. Let's do it. So for x, we'll say that's 0. The point where they meet, that's 0. That's our origin. 1, 2, and we'll do one more. 3. And for our y, we'll count by 5s. So that'll be 5,000, 10, 15. Let me come down a little bit. 20,000. And I was gonna go to 25. I'm running to my right, but we only have to go to 21, so we'll be all right. Wait a minute, I can fix that. Let me fix that. I was doing half a line initially, so I'm gonna do that again. Maybe we'll get there. So I did half here, and then I'll do half right here. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. 15,000. Then here would be 20,000. Then halfway here would be 25,000. There we go. So I use those lines on my paper to do halfway like that. All right, so here we go. 1, 18,000. So we go to the x, 1, and 18,000 would be, that's 5, 10, 15, and if 20 is here, 18 would be about right there. All right. Then next we have 0, 21,000. 0, then go up to 21. So if that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 21 to be right there, real close. And look at my tick marks. All right, I couldn't write my numbers right on it because I was afraid to go past it. Look at my tick marks. 5, 10, 15, 20, 21 to be real close, closer than that actually. And then the last one would be 2 and 15,000. So come over to 2 and 5, 10, 15, about right here. All right. And that's our graph. The value of the vehicle, it is falling down. And that's what happens with depreciation. The value of your merchandise decreases. All right.